Live.
Just give me a second. This always happens. One moment turns out like, oh, it's not pitch perfect.
No, it's because you want the camera tilted.
I can't. Anyways.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Random Fandom. I'm your host, the Indominic Rex.
Wait,
Going alongside me is your other host.
Hello, I'm Ravenwood. I'm the host.
We're both the hosts.
Eventually you will need to have your posters taken down before Monday because
I'll take them down, yeah.
But unfortunately we'll have to take down our posters because we're putting up a new, hopefully not fully determined yet, because there will be we'll have to put up we're hoping to put up either new shelves or maybe like a bookcase or whatever.
Fix the talk chat to life.
I did. I fixed it already. Why did it undo what I did?
It resets.
Whatever.
Well, the point is that
we rewatched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Oops.
That's not what it says on the thumbnail. It says oof.
Oops, oof, boof.
All right. Well, today on this live stream, we are covering Indiana Jones 2, the Temple of Doom.
It didn't say that Indiana Jones 2.
I know, it's just the second movie of Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom.
I don't know where they get the idea, where movie theaters got the idea of like the movie 2.
I don't really know, but just they like to numerically assign their titles. Okay, like Jurassic Park 1, Jurassic Park 2, Jurassic Park 3.
They stopped doing titles.
Yeah, they stopped.
Well, they haven't stopped it altogether, but like.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I just want to make
things. Well, that being said, we are here to discuss Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. If you would like to discuss the movie alongside us, you know where to type. You can leave your comments and your opinions in the chat section of our stream here. And with that further ado,
I need to get rid of this.
Why don't we get started discussing Temple of Doom?
Well, first, okay, so like first, like we all know, like I don't know what the bad guys were in the beginning of this movie, because in the beginning of the previous film, it started off with his arch nemesis.
All right, so I think I know how we.
Stop interrupting me for the 100 billionth time.
You interrupted me over like several gajillion times.
Okay, but listen, no, I can't remember who they were, like some sort of like Chinese mafia or something like that, or some sort of Chinese.
La Zhao.
La Zhao.
No, well, no, that's Le Xiao.
Le Xiao. But the idea was that they were the Chinese.
They were a Chinese crime syndicate.
Crime syndicate, and no communists. Well, the communist China didn't start just yet. They were still all about World War II and whatnot for some reason. The timeline's weird because they meet they meet Hitler in World War III. Not World War III. No, World War III. No, they met Hitler.
World War III. Oh no, it started
in the third film. I meant in the third film. I didn't meant to say World War III. I meant to say in World War II in the third film. But like years has kind of passed. Like how long was World War II? I forgot. Like how long was it? Like
I'm not sure exactly like what the span of time was, but I know that.
Or was
I know that and World War II was
like
a little bit shorter, I believe.
I'm not certain what the I'm.
It's been a while since I've done any research
I'm not.
on that. And then again,
I'm not certain. Hold on. I'm not certain when the timeline takes place for Indiana Jones 2, because obviously it happens with like those the not the teen models, but like the early the old earlier cars and whatnot, with not the teen models, but like the models after.
no, wait a minute.
Oh,
I know. I just remembered something because it's of the Lost Ark took place during World War II because the Nazis were there to collect the Ark for the Fuhrer. They were collecting artifacts to boost the power of the Fuhrer and his movement back during the war. And if I'm correct, Indiana Jones 2, The Temple of Doom, that the title, I believe that still takes place during the later stages of World War II. It's kind of difficult to say. I think at that point it may have been over.
Okay, so listen,
it's a little ambiguous.
Listen. Okay, no. Release order. The films were released in this order: Raiders, 1981; Temple of Doom, 1984; Last Crusade, 1989; Crystal Skull, 2008; and Dial of Destiny, 2023. Which Indiana Jones is old.
Yeah. So Temple of Doom
but
for like
chronological.
Chronological order.
Chronological order. Yeah, this doesn't make sense though. It says Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, 1984, set in 1935. This is the earliest film featuring in Shanghai, Indiana.
India.
And
Shanghai in India.
Yeah.
So the second film takes
set in 1936. India races again. That doesn't make any sense.
All right, so that's kind of an interesting take.
Okay.
So apparently
to follow the narrative arc, which differs from release order, which George Lucas did this with Star Wars, if you remember. The story begins in 1935 with Temple of Doom, followed by Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1936, Last Crusade in 1938. Okay, that makes sense. And Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in 1957, and concludes with Dial of Destiny in 1969. Okay, so
Dial of Destiny takes place in 1969.
Oh, interesting. So he's not that old.
He's not that old.
So he's not really old. He's just old.
Okay, so timeline's a little askew there.
So this
I hate that we had to rely on a phone to look this up. We should have known this. We're frauds. Oh, well, now I feel ashamed of myself. Chat, don't let us hear the end of this. Call us out.
Okay. So it says, does Steven Spielberg apologize for Temple of Doom? Yes, Steven Spielberg effectively apologized for Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom by saying he made the next film, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, as an apology for its dark, horrific, and subterranean tone, admitting he wasn't happy with the second installment and felt it lacked his personal touch, which kind of have to have Nazis.
You don't have to have Nazis in an Indiana Jones.
It was very dark, and I will admit that. But it was, it's
unstable.
Okay, we're back.
So thankfully,
anyways, going back to what I was saying.
The connection's a bit unstable, but going back to what I said.
Okay, sorry. It doesn't make sense to me because it was actually toned down in the sense of the fact that the bad guy didn't die a horrific death, although there was a lot of dark magic involved into it.
I'd like to think
And
there was a lot of film censorship.
No, the themes were. So I can kind of understand where, like, I use dark magic, I rip out your heart,
Right.
and I like that in context alone is kind of okay, and it is pulpy, but like the thing is, it was a little bit darker
Pulpy?
for pulp. It's Pulp Fiction.
Right. Well,
Hold on, let me finish.
Get to the main topic.
He explicitly called The Last Crusade an apology viewers for disappointing tone of desire for redemption. He wanted to bring back the earnest adventures of spirit of the first film, which led to the rehiring original supporting cast members. And anyways, so that makes sense.
Well, Last Crusade also introduced his father.
Okay, so it's
Indiana Jones Sr.
I'm not certain. Okay, but here's the thing, though. This is an AI overview. So I'm not 100% certain that that's true because this is chronological AI overview in chronological order. There is a video made by Screen Rant, which I also don't trust, but I want to look up an official screen. We're back. Okay, Screen Rant. I feel like it's more reliable in the sense of the fact that they have sources. So they at least put some sources here. Anyways, so
Well, that being said, I feel like looking at the internet aside,
I'm just trying to
no, I'm just saying, like, so the best way to describe this is that Temple of Doom takes place before Indiana Jones' official adventures with Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Last Crusade, and then later Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and the Dial of Destiny. So we can officially say that the Temple of Doom is kind of like a prologue movie.
Well, the problem with that,
it's a little like Little Nightmares and Little Nightmares 2, because Little Nightmares 2 chronologically takes place before Little Nightmares 1. It's a bit of a thing, but anyways, so
my point.
Anyways, to explain in detail before we continue much further, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is another movie in the Indiana Jones franchise.
There is,
and apparently it is supposed to be the first in the Indiana Jones franchise chronologically.
Here's another.
But it doesn't necessarily feel like it's the first film in a chronological way,
because
it just kind of throws the main cast in there, like.
Well, hold on. But the way Temple of Doom
it doesn't
works,
really introduce them the same way that Raiders did.
Okay, but like the way Temple of Doom is supposed to feel, I think it's supposed to feel more like the way I feel like it is. It's supposed to feel like this is just not aligned. Okay, okay, there we go. Okay, sorry. I would like to have things symmetrical, as not too symmetrical as possible, but like also. Well, anyway, so it was just bothering me, but it was not. Anyways, so the way it's a side quest, it feels like a side quest in between the two stories, where it also teaches Indiana Jones a story. But calling it a prologue doesn't make sense, or at least it kind of sort of makes sense. Calling it a prologue kind of doesn't make sense to me, in the sense of, like, if you look at it a character arc, if you were watching it in order, chronological order, in release order. If you were watching it in release order, it would feel like he was learning a lesson as he goes through each of these adventures. So the first film, he learns. What would we say the lesson would be then in that film? Like, he goes onto an adventure for money, right? And in the second film, he goes onto an adventure not for money, but to save this village, right? And in the third film, he say he doesn't he also doesn't do it for money, but he does it to and not all also he gives up he also gives up trying to save a relic for because of his love of history to save his father, his family, right? And then in the fourth film, he reunites with the love of his life. So if you view it that way, it makes sense of like him learning. But when you put it in
Well,
chronological order,
those weren't my initial takeaways from
you
the
go
film.
you go first. Sorry.
Well, you've already gone. I'm just saying those weren't my initial takeaways from the film.
Well, what's your takeaway then?
Well, I feel like before we do an initial takeaway, we have to do the overall summary first. And that's what I was trying to get at, but you kept cutting me off.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
All right. So to explain, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. For those of you who don't know, this is basically an adventure Indiana Jones has out in India. Although technically it starts off in Shanghai, China. Indiana Jones he was basically in the middle of finding a diamond in exchange for a relic that he had been hired to find for uh, this Chinese mafia or Chinese syndicate boss named Le Xiao. And of course, he goes through it. There's a bit of a fight scene in between. Indiana Jones meets a girl, and we are introduced to one of Indiana Jones' friends named Short Round. And there's a lot of chaos in this opening scene. The movie basically kickstarts us off into the adventure almost right out the gate with Indiana Jones, Willie, yes, that's her name, Miss Willie, and Short Round, little kid. There's barely any room for character introduction. We're just thrown into how we meet these characters. They get abandoned on a plane as the two pilots just ditch them there and they crash land in India. And from there, they encountered this village of people who implored them for help, as many of their children have been kidnapped and their sacred stone has been taken from them. So Indiana Jones, his initial plan is to go to Delhi. Delhi. I don't know. I heard it both ways in the film. At some points, they pronounced it Dali, and then the woman kept pronouncing it Delhi. Point is, they wanted to go to Delhi, India, but instead they went to, was it Bangkok or Bangkest?
I literally just dropped the website. Not yet.
But they went to a different location because Indiana Jones decided to help these villagers. And so they go there to investigate. And after doing some investigation, a cult sacrifice or a cult ritual.
Gosh, load, you stupid.
As it turns out, there is this following of Indian worshippers who are practicing thuggy religious worshippers who still following the religion of human sacrifice in the name of the Indian god of destruction and war, Kali. For those of you who don't know, please just do your Indian lore.
Why is this turned off?
Your research on Indian lore and mythology. To continue, Indiana Jones must then
thank you, God,
defeat these thuggy cultists and save the day. And that is the general overview.
Sankara stones.
Right, that is the general overview of the film. At least my way of summarizing it based on what I just watched. If you have anything to add to that overview
Um,
that I may have missed.
okay, no. Okay, so yeah, I looked up a website and it
No, just your general take on the film, like an overview. How would you summarize if you were to explain to the audience what Temple of Doom is in your own words? How would you explain? How would you explain what this film is to them?
The film is basically Indiana Jones stumbling from one adventure to another on pure luck and pure roll of the die.
Bro went from being poisoned in China to being nearly sacrificed in India.
and he runs into a village who they cry out to him and apparently he knows these people already.
He knows how to speak their language,
or he knows to speak their language. But I feel like there's also some hints that like they know who Indiana Jones was. Well, at a different time or something like that.
According to the book, this Temple of Doom was not Indiana Jones's first adventure in India.
Or maybe they mistaken him for his father, which that makes sense because he was also an archaeologist.
True.
But what happened was that basically they had this prophecy that said that someone that the gods will send someone from the sky to save their village, and water will rush out, and then their crops will grow again and stuff and all that. And they were starving because of the fact that their stone was taken, and that Indiana Jones will bring back, or not Indiana Jones, but basically whoever the gods would send will bring back their stone,
and that water would flow from the river again.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, Indiana Jones and his companions fall from the sky.
They literally fall from the sky. Their plane crashes, and they see it. They see this all go down. They think it's some sort of like magical spacecraft or something.
Well, not just that. Like the plane fell from the sky. They dropped from it in a rubber raft.
But still, they see it, and and I think something about their culture, about how like they view the white man is like some sort of thing holy. I'm not 100% certain. Don't quote me on that. This is something I was taught in history class.
There were some
cultures.
There were some sects of Indian, and I'm saying SECTS. No, sects.
I know.
Of Indian cultures that viewed people with white or lightish colored skin as holy people. And a lot of people, I believe the British were exclusively
they took advantage.
They took advantage of this.
They take advantage of everything.
They took a lot of people with light colored skin took advantage of these Indian cultures.
I'm gonna Google this to see if this is
and their beliefs in order to exploit these Indian populations, these religious groups. That being said, however,
white skin is valued in many Asian cultures: Japan, China, South Korea, Thailand, Vietnam, and some African/Caribbean nations, historically equating light skin with high social status, wealth, leisure, while dark skin was associated with manual labor. It's often tied to ideas of purity, youth, beauty, and sentiment, and prevalent in various culturalism. But there's East and Southeast Asia, like countries like Thailand, Vietnam, and South Korea. Other religions, colorism, often rooted in colonial history, leads to preferences for lighter skin in various African, Caribbean, and Middle Eastern communities. So not 100% there, but so they probably had some.
They took a little bit of ambiguity here. They did some creative licensing.
In
I believe the
I'm
correct
gonna
term is
type
they
it
took
in
some.
Indian. In
They
Indian
took
culture.
some creative freedom with this. One thing I want to point out.
The belief that white skin or fair skin is desirable in Indian culture is also termed colorism. Is deeply rooted in historical, social, and caste-based structures rather than single distinct cultures, and stems from colonial legacies, traditional caste hierarchies, associating with light skin with higher status, media and media portrayal of beauty, driving in massive lucrative skin lighting industry. Not necessarily that white people are superior. No, they just simply view that as like some sort of like something else, right? Not
but
not white not white supremacy.
Yeah,
just
I
I'm just
recalled
saying,
all that without having to look on the phone. So.
No. Cultural religious symbolism. While not directly promoting skin color prejudice, traditional Hindu symbolism associates white with purity, knowledge, and divinity. Not saying I'm on divine, but anyways. Whereas dark is sometimes associated with ignorance.
Right.
So that is why in the movie that they took. That is why in the movie they kind of propped them up and then fed them. They fed them, and then they were willing to starve if it meant that Indy
and his companions could eat.
His companions could eat.
Well, regardless.
Anyways,
historical, cultural.
I just want to get that out of the way.
Yeah, historical and cultural lessons. It's like, it is raining down.
Which
hard.
This movie relies a lot of religious themes like luck.
And
guess what? Yeah. We're experiencing bad luck today.
There were a lot of religious aspects to this.
Well, there's a lot of religious aspects in all the films. Okay, anyways.
There were a lot of religious aspects to this film in particular that strongly, I would say, dominated most of the theme. Because unlike the first film and the third film and the other films that preceded it, most of the theme is Indiana Jones on an adventure to retrieve this relic, save some people, and win the day.
Yeah, so
this
because
one,
of the fact that this
film was more so Indiana Jones and his friends escaping from a religious cult of Kali worshippers.
Thuggy.
Well, they were
something like that. Yeah.
They are a thuggy cult, but they were still a cult of Kali worshippers.
Yeah. Anyways,
so I wasn't wrong. I just didn't name the religious cult.
And obviously, this is I'm not certain about Mala Ram, but apparently Mala Ram.
I think it was Mala Ram.
No, it's Mala Ram. Anyways,
Mala Ram.
Yeah.
You sure?
Fine. Give me a second. Give me a second. Well, give me a second. Well, anyways, the villain. It's not clear whether or not he was.
Really? Well, he wasn't even the only villain of this film. There was Lei Xiao, but he was only in the film for like a brief portion at the beginning of the film.
Well, the idea here is that Indiana Jones went from adventure to adventure and adventure. Villain of simple. And so, give me a second. Mala Ram, yes. Yeah. Mola Ram. Anyways,
Mola Ram.
He was the high priest of the Thuggy cult.
The Thuggy cult. Okay.
So, he was an Indian cultist who tricked the
not an Indiana cultist, an Indian.
That's
cultist.
what I said. That's
you said Indiana.
Well,
they have it. They have it in the feed.
I got my tongue across because of the fact that we're talking about Indiana Jones.
Chat,
Anyways.
keep them honest. Keep them honest for me, chat.
Shanghai Gangster Lao Chi and Chatter Law. Uh, and the Prime Minister to the Maharaja Maharaja who supports the cult. So basically, this was basically a prequel to Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, meaning that during this time, since it is confirmed by the website that I looked up, so I looked up basically.
I thought they really didn't make that clear, did they?
Well, anyways, the idea. Well, they did because when the kid hit him with the fire, not knowing he was being controlled, right? He woke up.
I'm saying they didn't really make it clear that this was supposed to be the first movie in chronological order.
Well,
they did a better job setting up Raiders of the Lost Ark to appear like it was the first film.
Anyways, this was a prequel in the sense of like, okay, this is what happened before he reunited with Marion, right?
Marianne Ravenwood.
Yes. And so this guy, he managed to find a way to use dark magic from Kali, from the goddess Kali, and he tricked the ruler of this area of India, not the ruler of India. I think
the Mahara.
The Mahara. He tricked the Mahara and basically used his own soldiers as his
followers.
As his follower. No, as his henchmen, so that he would have the army support.
Yeah.
The Mahara.
I suppose it's a bit ambiguous. If you were to go view this right now on DVD or whatever streaming platform you watch this movie on, there isn't a whole lot to clarify who's working for the main villain, Malaram. There isn't a whole lot to clarify who really is working for him, just that he's got all these followers.
It's literally simple. It's the moment it's revealed that the Mahara was controlled by dark magic because the kid hit him with fire, he wakes up. Therefore, it then tells the audience that if Indiana Jones was awakened by fire, then that means that they were both mind controlled.
No, I get that much. I'm saying it wasn't very. I'm saying it wasn't, and it can also be a bit confusing to any viewers because it was also I'm saying, in my own personal experience, watching this movie a second time, I can understand what got me confused the very first time I watched this. Because the very first time I ever watched Temple of Doom, I was a bit confused at who was what, and these villains were all coming out of nowhere. It just felt like this secret cult had somehow infiltrated the palace and were working underground. And I was like, where are the security guards? How are they allowing all this? And then my second time watching it, I realized, oh dear, the security guards are the followers. They're the ones working.
Yeah, okay.
They're the cult followers the entire time.
Meanwhile, the British army that were also there. Yeah, I had to Google this up because I had to make sure. The 11th Pune. No, I didn't look up the rifles. I was looking up the army. Anyways, the British.
I believe they were called the 11th Pune Rifles.
Well, regardless, you have the British army that was also there. They were a bit speculative of Mullah Ra and the Maharaja because there was a lot of conflict there, and they had taken up, and they knew there was something that was suspicious of the Mahara and how they were behaving, and the king said, "Don't worry, this will never happen again under my rule." But however, he was under mind control, and so it was also suspicious that he was a young kid. That was the point that was being driven home. A young kid was
a
young prince, meaning this probably indicated that he probably killed the prince of India and then
or the original king, and then set up his prince as the ruler.
Yes, regardless, he killed the royalty of that.
Although again, this wasn't very clear in the movie.
Well, I feel like it was kind of. I feel like it was clear as it needed to be that something was wrong. Why?
Yeah,
Why is the prince young? Now, technically speaking, it didn't matter who was it, because who if the prince was young or not.
I'm aware.
In multiple cultures, but however, it was a bit odd and a bit suspicious that someone was young instead of someone being of someone of older age to also guide the child.
Well, I feel, and I'm sorry, sir. I feel like all that aside, you could easily, because they do this a lot in some animations, and other movies nowadays. Um, but there are a lot of shows and movies out there with young rulers who inherited the throne because their parents died or there was an uprising of some sort. But
the man was wearing a wig.
But the narrative does a good enough job to explain what happened and how the kid rose to the throne without the audience having to do their own research in order to figure out what happened. Now, Temple of Doom left a lot of holes in their narration.
I can see
that. You as the viewer yourself have to go out there, research your own bits of the lore, or just go back and read the books in order to fill in the blanks of the narrative and figure out what happened here.
This was also
other than just the short recap of what happened in India between Indiana Jones, the British corporal, and the two secret thuggy cultists. That there was previously an Indian
takeover,
an Indian uprising in the Maharaja, led by the Mahara, and then somehow the British quelled the uprising, and then the prince took over, and ever since then, that's where Temple of Doom lets us off. The rest is just Indiana Jones trying to collect the stones from the thuggy cultists and shut down their operations in the Maharaja.
No. Anyways, initially this was supposed to be a summary, but then you kept on
I already finished the summary.
No, for me. You wanted me to do a summary, and I tried to make a summary, but then I kept on explaining the plot to you.
No, it wasn't that. It's just that after you did your initial summary, I said something, and then you
Well, I had to explain the plot to you.
No, you didn't have to explain the plot for me. I merely said something, and you found an issue with that, so you...
Okay.
All I'm simply saying is that narratively, the Temple of Doom doesn't quite do as good a job as Raiders of the Lost Ark did.
I don't see how that's a problem.
No,
not a problem. I don't see how that is, to me personally, because I got the plot. Bad guy with twirly mustache, not twirly mustache. Bad guy tricked people He kidnapped a whole bunch of kids with using the Indian army, and then also tricked the British army, thinking everything was fine, and then had a secret hidden mining facility underneath the palace. And
Well, if I may,
sorry, hold on. You start. I'll figure out what this problem is. This is emergency.
All
Sorry.
right, emergency. All right. Well, while Raven is dealing with that emergency, to clarify, my initial take on Temple of Doom is that it leaves a lot narratively speaking in terms of what overall is happening. It just feels like there's a lot of gaps.
Okay, I'm back.
But aside from those gaps, yes, the basic storyline is clear. Indiana Jones stumbles into a cult uprising in India, and he has to stop it, set the child slave laborers free, and stop the thuggy cultists.
Speaking of which,
and return the stone to the village.
There's a lot of companies that are supposed to be here in America that set their factories in other countries like Vietnam.
We're not gonna get into.
Sorry,
we're not gonna
because of child labor.
We're not gonna discuss politics.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to squeeze it in.
Yeah, but I feel like if we get into too many
just
political,
a small squeeze,
if we get into too many small political topics, they're never gonna let us hear.
I just wanted one joke and then get out of there.
Right. Well, moving on from initial overviews and whatnot.
Yes. Least favorite scene in the movie.
Least favorite scenes. Okay. So moving on from all that, I feel like my least favorite scene in this movie was the romance scene between Indiana Jones and Willie, where they're just like kind of dancing around each other. They're just talking like where they're just Willie Scott. Yeah, that's her name. Where the movie takes a brief intermission period for Indiana Jones and Willie Scott to, I'll just call her Lady Scott. Whatever, Willie Scott. It takes this brief intermission period to play around with a budding romance between Indiana Jones and Willie Scott. And they're just, they're right across the halls from each other. Their room, that's how the rooms are set up. Indiana Jones is flirting with her, and she kind of rejects him. And he heads to his room, and then she's like, "You'll be back in 5 minutes." And then they literally
I'll blow up the planet in 5 minutes.
It literally does this whole thing where the two of them are in their rooms, just checking the clocks, waiting for 5 minutes to pass while they're dolling themselves up.
I think I know why you have a problem with the scene. You're squeamish about love scenes. No, just kidding. No, I think I know why you're. I think I know why you're.
I don't have a problem with love scenes.
No, I think I know why you have a problem with it. Continue. Sorry.
Well, I don't have a problem with love scenes. Okay?
No. I think I know why you have a problem with the scene.
I'm talking to the audience.
Okay.
Right, shut up. I don't have a problem with love scenes if they're done correctly. My problem with this love scene, if you can even call it that, with that it just felt so out of place because they just kind of threw it in there. Although, yeah, you could say they had time to do it, but the setup just kind of fell flat on its head. It just did not feel natural. It felt like the entire situation was forced. It just felt I don't know what I was. I didn't know what I was watching. It it
No,
just
okay,
left me scratching my head.
okay, so I'm wrong here. My problem with the love scene isn't the scene at all. I don't think it was forced or anything. I just feel like um
Well, that's just my take on it.
I understand why it was there. It's supposed to be just if you we should now watch it in order of chronological. Now that you think about it, since apparently the second movie is actually a prequel, which I don't understand why they do that. They should say that for anthology films. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I get why they did that with Star Wars, but I mean,
well, no. With Star Wars, he had to write the prequels after he was done with the trilogy because the fact that he probably wanted more story or whatever. Anyways, but no, it's out of to have it out of order like that, where you do first film, second film, third film, right? Mm-hmm. Anyways, but going back to the point of why I think the love scene didn't work, or at least not 100% work, is that you have the attacker in the assassin in Indiana Jones's room, which I do like. There was a mural wall, and then there's a lot of, and he took advantage of the background, his colorful outfit with the colorful background with the fact that there was people in the mural, and right. You have him there, and he could have attacked at any moment. Now, granted, he had, but however, what I did like about it is that he didn't attack immediately when Indiana Jones was in the room. He had to make sure that Short Round was asleep. That's one factor number one. Mm-hmm. The primary target was Indiana Jones, nobody else.
You had to wait till he was alone, isolated, and cut off from any escape.
And he also have to wait until Indiana Jones paced back towards him. The problem is it's a little too convenient that he tried to kill him in that room when the woman is in the other room, and then he was clearly obviously debating about whether or not, if he had overheard the conversation, assuming he knows English, assuming that could be the clever part of the scene, is that he didn't understood English, right? So the assassin probably didn't understand English. If he did understand English, well, then he should have left the room and then hid inside the ladies' room somehow. I guess maybe like go into whatever. Anyways, the assassin didn't. The assassin planned it out well, and obviously it worked. It would have worked if it weren't for Short Round. That's another problem. The Short Round was in the room as well. Mm-hmm. So this. Shut up, phone. I thought I turned off all the notifications before. Anyways, so I feel like that's fine. The assassin was just not smart there. But I think it's fine because Indiana Jones is a womanizer. He's like, oh, do I love you or do I not? Let's find out in 5 minutes.
That much I'm fine with. Indiana Jones as a character.
I think maybe it may be the pacing, but like it makes sense in the sense of like, oh, there's a cooldown time, right? We're invited into the palace, right? Maybe we could. Do you think we could kiss under them? Kiss in the palace, maybe, or you know what I'm saying?
I don't know. It may be my complaint. To me, it just felt so random and out of place. I think for the
purpose of the scene, I think, isn't because of like when Indiana Jones is a womanizer. It's to give the false sense of comfort for Indiana Jones and
his friends.
in his companions. They've given a false sense of comfort, and what is one way to give a false sense of comfort? Love, romancing.
But even
allowing
then
them to sleep. No, well, not romancing, but allowing them to sleep for a writer to give them a false sense to indicate to the audience that there's a false sense of comfort is how free they can be in this scene. That they can go from one room to another, like, I love you, no, I love you, no, I, that shout back and forth. I feel like that was the reason why this scene exists, was to trick the audience into thinking that they were comfortable in this palace, that they were free to make out.
Even then, as a comfort scene, it didn't feel right to me. It just didn't feel like it properly built itself up to be a comfort scene. It just kind of sucker punched me in the face a bit. I was like,
Well, I don't know.
So, what was your least favorite scene?
Least favorite scene? It was actually not the romance scene, but because I felt like it was fine. It maybe the pacing of it a bit could be the problem, because like this is
Well,
it was I know that, because this let me talk.
I'm letting you.
I let you talk. I wait. I shut up.
All the time.
Anyways,
you're the one that doesn't let me talk, man.
Okay. I think well, it's a short film, so you also have to understand, like, the pacing might be a bit off here and there. My least favorite of the movie, I have to say, would have to be the dinner table scene. Not because of pacing or writing or whatever.
It literally ruined his appetite. We were in the middle of eating pizza, and he gave me his remaining slice. He just could not finish.
It's not the movie's fault for that. Like, that was supposed to be how it is. Like, oh, hey, this is disgusting, right? Here you go. It's not meant to be light of heart, obviously. I think that might have been controversial. That scene might have been controversial, but setting aside in the movie, I think that scene might have been controversial. I'm not certain, but
it may have been an over exaggerated scene, because yes, there are certain countries throughout Asia and Europe
or cultures.
There are no. I mean, because even nowadays in Thailand, they love to serve scorpions on a skewer in certain vendors.
No, I'm talking about the monkey brains and whatnot. Everything else is fine, but I feel like the monkey brains might have been a little too much, or a little cutting it closer.
Apparently, that was actually a rare delicacy in India.
Well, I don't know.
At the time.
Well,
I don't know if it's a delicacy nowadays in modern India, but back then I believe they actually did have.
Well, anyways, regardless, my least favorite scene was that it did the scene well. Like, oh, okay, this is, oh, look at this is funny. Oh, look, they discussed it about that. It did the scene well. It's the title. This scene served its purpose. The purpose was also to introduce the main villains of the movie, and of course the British propaganda. Sorry, not the British propaganda. The British Army, that just a soldier, was also there, and because this was obviously a meeting, and Indiana Jones being there, did. I think Mullah was trying to get him in trouble with the British or whatever, the British soldier or something, get him arrested because of the fact that there was a lot of red flags with Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones was well known for doing a lot of stuff in other countries, like stealing stuff, and so there was a lot
Indiana
of criticism.
Jones had a bit of a harsh reputation
Yeah,
as
he had
an
a bit.
architect finder,
Archaeologist.
as an archaeologist and an artifact hunter.
Yeah, as an artifact hunter, and a lot of insulting countries doing so. So he obviously had to learn and relearn some stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, going back to what we were talking about, it's my least favorite scene because it always and it never fails to upset my stomach, to stop my ruin my appetite for whatever. If I have to watch this film, not eating something,
it may have
drinking
ruined
something, maybe.
It may have ruined my appetite a bit too, because I also was not able to finish my pizza.
I offered my pizza and was like, no.
I could not eat. I was in the middle of eating my supper. I also couldn't finish my supper.
Anyways, now what is your favorite scene of the movie?
As cliche as it may sound, the final battle. I like the final confrontation. Just
them on the bridge. Oh, I loved it too.
Yeah, them on.
Damn it, I can't talk about
them on the bridge. Well, it wasn't just them on the bridge, but I liked their final confrontation on the bridge, and now Indiana Jones basically got into this tug of war with Mala Ra. What was it? Malam Ra?
Mala
Ra.
Malaram.
Got into the tug of war with Malaram over the stones in order
stones.
Yeah. While they were dangling from the rope ladder, and then he managed to save the stone that belonged to the village, while Malaram fell to his death and got ripped apart by crocodiles after hitting his head twice. And I know, but they were implying that they were crocodiles, but the actual animals that were used on the scene, were alligators. I guess they just did not have the budget for crocodiles, but
it was also a very short movie, so.
I get they didn't think anyone was going to notice that, hey, those aren't Indian crocodiles, those are alligators. I'm suing. If you go back and watch it plenty of times, you can tell that those are alligators instead of crocodiles. But I don't think anyone's going to care enough about it nowadays. But yeah, he falls to his death. He hits his head once, twice. Bonk, gets ripped apart. A lot of people say his death was anticlimactic, but I mean,
if it was the first film, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
It was.
Personally, I feel like it was just enough.
It playing as a prequel, also fine, but it being the second film in the trilogy, right, or in the quadrilogy, really. I'm leaving the fifth one out as a separate, as more of an anthology. Okay, for reasons.
Kintology.
No. Anyways, it's fine, but however, in context, you said something in context of Hindu, Indian mythology or whatever. You said there's Hindu, then there's the other religion. What's the other religion? There's Hindu, and then there's was it Hindu mythology?
Hinduism?
There's Hindu in the Hinduism, but then there's also
well, there's also Jewish.
He wanted to kill. He wanted to commit genocide to all the Jews and the Christians and every other.
He wanted to get rid of all the religions spreading throughout Europe and Asia.
Yeah, he just wanted only one religion. Huh?
He wanted only the Thuggy religion to return.
Well, no,
The religion that follows the practice of Kali or Kali worship, which includes human sacrifice.
Well, that was no. He was trying looking for all 5 stones. He only found 3 stones. Why did I look up in images?
No, but I'm saying the
Hinduism. Yeah,
the Thuggee religious cult practiced the art of they practiced the art of human sacrifice.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, Hinduism.
Now, what was your favorite scene in the movie?
I, oddly enough, liked my favorite scene. Well, I technically have 2.
You can only name one.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I could only name one.
Let me do an honorable mention. Honorable mention. The beginning scene where he fought the Chinese. They had the car. I love that the style of those cars, right? Those 1930 cars, and everything. And I loved the Tommy gun guy. Right? He knew that Indiana Jones was behind that rolling thing. Which, by the way, in the beginning of the first movie, there was a rolling object. In the beginning of the second movie, a rolling object. We'll get back to well, maybe in the third movie there would be a rolling object.
I actually don't think there was.
Well, we'll get back to
check. We'll check.
There might be, maybe even smaller. Anyways, no. Anyways, that was an honorable mention. But
your favorite scene?
My favorite scene was the mine cart scene because I like trains.
The mine cart scene.
The mine cart scene.
That was pretty good.
Them going right, and then of course, and explosion. Okay, it didn't explode, but like they fell down the canvas and then just crashed and died. Anyways,
well, the bad guys did, but Indiana Jones and his companion just kept racing across the tracks while being pursued by thuggy cultist followers with guns.
By the way, the character was
and then there was this one guy who jumped off his cart get onto Indiana Jones. This was just went, "Hi-ya!"
Despite the fact
the way he flailed his arms about like "Hi-ya!"
Yeah. Despite the fact that also another honorable mention was the fight scene between the very big man and
I'd say that's
him being crushed.
That's my honorable.
Okay, yeah, we'll share that. Well, like the first movie had a big man like I fight you now, right? In the second movie also I now fight you. We're related. I'm related to the guy in the first film. Anyways, I think they're the same stunt actor, but he just simply changed.
They just gave him.
I don't know.
It was a different actor. I could tell that much.
Oh, anyways, the motive of Molaram. Oh dang it! It only has it doesn't have his it doesn't have his deeper motives, right?
Because I don't think there was any real deeper motive behind the film, just that he wanted to get rid of all other religions.
His goals: find all 5 Sankara stones and use their power to make the Thuggee unstoppable. Right? Mm-hmm. That was number 1. Number 2 is obliterate the British, the Hebrews, the Muslims, and the Christians, and have their gods and religions cast down and forgotten. Mm-hmm. Conquer the world. Conquer the world alongside his gods, Kali Ma. Kill, and of course, obviously, kill the minions. Prevent and of course, now his. I forgot his reasoning behind it.
Yeah, we can get into that later. Overall, would you say this was a good Indiana Jones movie, or was this suboptimal?
Let me get to that. One second. Steven Spielberg, despite having the third movie being an apology, right, for this film, he said his favorite villain was this villain.
Malaram.
He lost his menacing aura when he
removed his helmet.
Yeah, I liked his design. I feel scared by his character, frightened. Sorry, not scared. I feel frightened by his character design when I was a kid. He is the most frightening villain of them all, in my opinion.
He definitely had menace.
Bro,
as a younger viewer watching the film, Malaram definitely was more intimidating and a lot more imposing of a villain. Watching him nowadays is... Okay, let me ask you this before you continue. Is Malaram still as menacing and imposing as you feel he was back then?
Yes, I still it still holds up to this day. But
I
this
feel
guy,
like it does too, but less so than I remember him being as a kid. Like as an adult, he feels less imposing, but still menacing.
I'm trying to also remember his what his reasons were, but I think it had something to do with the British, which ironically the British end up saving the day.
Yeah, the British ended up rounding up the thuggy followers, and they assist Indiana Jones and his friends in getting getting back to the village.
They were very quick and very brief with what Mola Ram. By the way, his at the beginning of the movie when you first meet him, he's this guy who's in a nice suit, glasses, and a hat. Bro thought he was Brock.
Bro was kind of acting like an ambassador of sorts.
Yeah, bro thought the priest literally thought he was Indiana Jones's arch rival Rene, but he was ugly, right? If you look at him, he's like, oh yeah, you have the suit, you have the glasses.
I believe it was pronounced Rene.
Yeah, Rene, right? Bro tried to steal Rene's drip, but it didn't work, And what's funny, he had a wig. He had a wig on.
Renard.
No, Rene. It's not Renard. It's Rene.
The first film villain?
Yeah, anyways. Rene. Anyways,
regardless.
After he wanted revenge against everyone in the world because of the British, and they had supposedly slaughtered the Thuggee, and so he was the last two of the lost. He was a Thuggee priest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he basically wanted revenge, and he found a powerful ally in Chatter Law, the prime minister of the Pencock Palace. Anyways, it says here in the background he poisoned Mahara Primjit Singh, the Pencock's ruler, and then of course brainwashed his young son Zalam.
Yep.
So he brainwashed that child, and then so that's the story there.
Regardless of that.
Anyways.
Now that you've looked it up.
I knew this while watching the film because I was watching it, but this is to clarify some of the details, because what is this? No, get me out of this.
Well,
get me out of this ad. Damn it.
Regardless of the fact.
Oh wait, but regardless of Bro had a menacing aura once he removed his wig, once he removed his hat and glasses and his shirt.
Once he looked more like a thuggy priest.
Yeah, once he put on that red paint, right? Bro had menacing aura.
And then...
But then, of course, he dies, and then he ends up going... you said something about Kali Hell. Or no, Indiana Jones said, see you
You can go see Kali in hell.
in hell. But you said something about the crocodiles and whatnot.
I said that Kali was often depicted as having a crocodile head in some Indian cultures. Um, Now, in Egyptian mythology, there was a different god or goddess who had the crocodile head, but in I believe it was in some Indian mythology, Indian cultures of mythology, that Kali had the crocodile head.
Okay, here's a correction. Apparently, it was George Lucas's decision to have a prequel because they didn't want to do the Nazis again, so they had to have some other.
So it was George Lucas's fault.
No, not his fault. It makes sense, and it makes sense in terms of like you don't want to do with Hollywood. With Hollywood,
he's not meeting the allegations here.
No, with Hollywood, when it comes to like not doing things twice, they said this with when it came to making the movie Jurassic Park. They didn't want it to be a horror film or whatever because other films. There were other adventure horror films that were happening that year or something like that.
Yeah, but at the same time, a lot of people claim that George Lucas had ruined Star Wars. So it doesn't surprise me that Temple of Doom is kind of the odd egg out in the Indiana Jones franchise as a result of George Lucas's influence, because he was part of the executive team working on that film. Now, granted, Lucasfilm Productions were also they also played a part in the animation and choreography work for Jurassic Park, but Steven Spielberg and writer what was his name, David Koepp, they were ultimately the ones in charge of the direction in which the movies went. And yes, Jurassic Park was a dark horror movie for its time, but it was more of a horror adventure film, as was The Lost World Jurassic Park.
They didn't want to have the raft scene because it would be too adventurous. That's
the raft scene they had to keep out because they didn't have the budget for it.
But the ultimate thing, not just budget. One of what they had. I remember watching a thing. I remember either reading or watching a thing about the raft scene, why they left it out. Well, not just because of budget, but because of they got a lot of things for budget. But one of the reasons was because it felt like it was too adventurous for the film.
I know what you're talking about, but that was actually in response to the aviary scene that they had to leave out of the first film.
Oh, okay.
There was originally going to be an aviary in the first Jurassic Park, but they had to cut that out along with the river raft scene, along with so many other parts that ended up just being left in storyboard. But the aviary was eventually cut because it felt like it was going to be too adventurous.
Well, regardless, this movie is interesting, but like it's also a lot of criticism went to this film because probably because it was too short, probably because of the fact that it was a little too dark. Although it ended on a high note, I don't know how we're getting a good connection.
It is raining cats and dogs.
I don't know how we're getting well, I don't know if we are getting
let's not jinx it.
But anyways, we're gonna have to wrap this up anyways. So what are your final thoughts about this film?
My final thoughts, I want to say, about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is I can understand why other reviewers like Nostalgia Critic say that it's not as good as people said it was back in the day. Like, for example, a lot of people back then had hyped up movies like The Empire Strikes Back as the best Star Wars film. To this day, a lot of people still say it's the best one, even though back then it wasn't well received, and a lot of people didn't think it was. But nowadays, so many people will tell you Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars film out of the entire trilogy. A lot of people also said that the Temple of Doom uh, wasn't so good back in the day, and then all of a sudden it became the best movie of the franchise, and then later it became also not as good as people remember it. And many reviewers of this film had a lot to say that it was not as good as a lot of people made it out to be. Now, my personal opinion, I can see where they're coming from. Temple of Doom, in my opinion, is nowhere near as good a movie as Raiders of the Lost Ark was. For one thing, the film was too short. There were a lot of unnecessary parts that I feel like the pacing kind of killed or ruined. And three, I just feel like some things were just left kind of. I just feel like some things were just kind of left too ambiguous, and that there were a lot of
You know what's
holes.
funny? You know what's funny? On. Sorry, you finish. You finish.
And that there were a lot of holes that I feel like just didn't work.
Yeah.
That's
what?
my take. Now,
Okay.
what are your final thoughts on the film?
You know what's funny? While we were watching it, my grandmother called and said, y'all better keep it down, y'all and whatnot, keep it down, and it's getting late or whatever. And so I was like, oh, sorry, we weren't yelling, screaming, or no, sorry, no, I said, sorry, man, we were watching Indiana Jones. And she's like, well, it's not that scary of a movie. You don't have to be. You don't have to be yelling and screaming.
We were
and I said,
actually
no,
laughing
yeah,
at
we
a
were.
certain scene. We were laughing at a certain scene.
Yeah, and
I
so
do.
I was
I
like,
will.
I don't
give-
know how she gets. I don't know how she got laughing and screaming confused, but I think
I
it
will
was,
say that's
but-
all TMI.
but I no, huh? No, listen. But I think it's funny that she thought that it's not that scary. That was the part that I was getting at. That was like she thought it was not scary for us to scream.
If anything,
So,
Temple
like-
of Doom got more of a laugh out of us than it did fright.
Well, no, like, okay, to be fair, as a kid or
As a
watching
kid,
it
yeah.
or watching it for the first time, yes, it is. No, actually, still watching it. It is still scary with the whole hand on the chest. And I still felt like, is Indiana Jones, for some reason, despite knowing what happens in the film,
Ripping out the heart.
right, ripping out the heart and whatnot.
Nowadays, considering what all the dark
I can-
themes they have in movies nowadays,
Imagine,
it's less scary to me and just unsettling.
no, I still feel like it's a bit terrifying.
Well, that's your final thoughts.
A little bit, but I
say
will.
your final thoughts.
Anyways, my I think this movie is a bit dark, and it is like it's in a way it's a step up. Now imagine telling the audience back then when you were releasing it, okay, this is gonna be a prequel, right? A prequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then that would kill the all the tension, I think. Mentally, right? Mentally, you were like, okay, it's a prequel. Whatever happens in this film, he's obviously going to live, right?
Yeah.
You're right. It would have been actually interesting if they had it as a prequel and he died.
It was somehow brought back to life via Indian magic somehow.
Yeah, that would be funny. I'm just saying, like that. They're like, wait a second. he dies, and then while you're watching the film, like, oh no, how does he look? How does he live in the next film, right? And then what they could do, no, he dies in this film, but then they have it to where like, oh, there's another Indiana Jones film, a sequel to this, right? And then it leads up to like, oh, well, Short Round and Willie Scott, the bring back Indiana Jones.
Will they save Indiana Jones
from the
from the Indian underworld? Stay tuned.
The Hindu in underworld.
Indian underworld.
Whatever. No, Hindu.
It was in India, but India. They were in India.
Fine. Anyways,
and if anything, it would have been the thuggy
Indiana
underworld because
there was a thuggy cult, but they worshipped a Hindu goddess, Kali. Kali Ma. So no, like Indiana Jones and the hell of Kali. that would have been a very dark movie. I'm not gonna lie. That would be a very dark movie.
I wonder if they actually had that as a book.
That would have been a very cool movie too.
I need to go back and
the hell of Kali Ma.
I need to go back and look at
Kali Ma.
I really need to go back and look over some of the Indiana Jones books and see what all was left out and see what all we missed.
But then it would be another prequel. So, like, obviously, the answer to that movie would be that he'd be brought back from hell. But, anyways,
your final thoughts.
But then that would have been. I feel like. Okay, my final thoughts was there's a lot of criticism towards like. I heard this one criticism about like how the Stones were too goofy or too magical or whatever or something like that. But then you have literally the film before that or the film after it and the film like the criticism about Raiders of the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and the criticism about the second movie was that like the magic and whatever it make is a little too out of this world or whatever, and it was like
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was more science fiction and how.
Well, they're all technically science fantasy. Let's go with that word.
No, not fantasy. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull leaned more into a science fiction,
but it's still
with extraterrestrial.
My comeback to that is, it's not. It's just as ridiculous as the Ark sucking in faces, and it's just as ridiculous as the Holy Grail bringing back people healing wounds and whatnot. Now, is that more tamed? Yeah.
Holy water.
Is holy water healing people more tamed? Yes, but it's still ridiculous. It's still a ridiculous MacGuffin in the sense of like. You literally
could. Going to be a lot of Christian watchers.
No. Think about it. It is a ridiculous MacGuffin in the world.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just afraid there are going to be a lot of people yelling at us later.
The whole alien thing, it's a bit ridiculous and it's a little.
No, that is definitely.
I liked it.
I liked it too. It was. I just felt like it was so.
They leaned a little too. There. No, I feel like they leaned too far. Sci-fi by adding way too much exposition about it. Right?
I feel like
by saying, they're from another dimension. They could have just simply had them as archaeologists from another planet. That's all they could have done.
I feel like it was just.
They're from another dimension.
I feel like it was just a little too out of place because Indiana Jones, up to that point, had merely focused on artifacts from historical points of time. And then all of a sudden, we've got this alien skull.
But the thing is,
because Area 51.
No. It makes sense in the sense of. Like, in a sense, Area 51 is a modern tomb, in a way, or modern relics, right? And so, also it makes sense in the sense that they also went to a different temple in the Mayan temple. Yeah, they went to the Mayan temple or the Aztec temple, whatever. They went to that temple and then found that they had hidden treasure throughout the different ages because they were also archaeologists. The aliens were like, learning. I really like stories where aliens are like trying to learn about like, oh, what is the human culture or whatnot, right, and all other stuff. Ignore them. That was a notification from Izanagi. I know what I mean.
Izanagi.
Talk about Izanagi. Anyways, no, his name just happens to be Izanagi. He was asking something, in the Tundra Discord. But which, by the way, you can talk to us in the Tundra. Just go to Raymond McNeil's Patreon and subscribe to him for $1, and then you can see him, see us there, and talk to us there. We don't have our own Discord just yet, so piggyback off of there. Now, anyways, but that's my final thoughts. I feel like Stone. If you're gonna
piggyback off of someone else,
that's the only way you can talk to us. That's the to piggyback.
You can also talk to us in the comments section of our video.
Now, again, going back to the magic stones. Yes, it sounds ridiculous, but however, it is the sun
sorry about this Celtic.
But anyways, but that's the truth. If you're gonna find us, we don't have our own Discord just yet. So, anyways,
I know, but like you could tell them to talk to us in the comment section of the video instead of piggybacking off of someone else.
Hey, hey, that's fine. I don't. I think it's fine. I don't know why you're making fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you. I just fear.
That is a way to have a normal conversation with us outside of YouTube and outside of these streams.
I feel like we're about to awaken the lynch mob.
Not really. What lynch mob? Anyways, no. Going back to my final thoughts. That I think stones, magical stones, is it because the like, I don't understand why people hate the idea of like the magical stones when it's like, is it because it's not a Christian relic?
They're Indian relics.
I know, like, which is kind of the criticism that I will have with part 3.
A lot of the relics Indiana Jones does go after are Christian relics, but in the books he does go after a wide variety of relics. He's not just after the Christian ones. Now the Christian relics were the more popular ones at the time, because at the time Christianity was taking off across the Middle East and Western and Eastern continent. Christianity was spreading like wildfire back then. So of course Indiana Jones finding the Holy Grail, the lost Ark of the Covenant, those were going to be popular relics.
The Last Crusade is actually going to be an interesting topic because of the fact that it's not just Christian mythology, but it also has to deal with Arthurian legend.
Because back then, in British mythology, Arthurian mythology no less, it depicted King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table looking for the Christian Holy Grail.
Anyways, so that's my final thoughts. Is like, I think it's foolish to say that this was a bad film. It's a strange criticism, but I think to say it's a bad film because of the fact that he goes look for stones.
Yeah,
stones. It's a bad. It's a good film in my opinion. Is it better than the first one? Not exactly. Do I like the fact that they fight a cult instead of Nazis? Yeah, it's different.
That is different.
I like different is good. It can be bad.
Good if handled right.
It can be bad in the sense of the fact that it was a bit darker for the audience, for the Indiana Jones fans.
If it turns the audience away, then you did something wrong.
But it was still a financial success according to
it was a financial success.
But
at the time,
yeah, there were probably a lot of emails like, "Oh, despite this financial success," right? Anyways, but that's all. Despite our unfinancial success,
this is merely the ramblings of two idiots on YouTube.
Yeah. Tell us what you thought about Temple of Doom.
Tell us what you think about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and let us know in the comments right there below. You can find it over there somewhere.
Yeah, right down there.
Yeah, right down there or to the side.
And then this is the live chat right here. This is the
live chats to the side here.
Where am I pointing?
Comment section.
How am I? You can wait, no, I'm pointing that direction, but it just looks like I'm pointing in the other direction. It just looks so weird. I'm pointing. Okay, I have to point this way.
Some people like going this way. Other people trying to say goodbye with the bear, the moon, and the big blue house.
I did big goodbye to the bear
and this last. I'm trying. Yes, I do.
Which is the thing. We sing a song. We sing a song and
properly.
Okay.
So fandom and